And so we begin this day with that kind of recalibration that is not only happening through the beloved channel, but it is also happening in with all of you, the receiving end of all of this, which really sets forth a vibrational resonance that reaches out across this beautiful crystalline grid you all are carrying and are part of. You are all part of essentially a living library of existence, and we are a part of that with you. And it is our joy, absolute joy and purpose for being in this connection to you all, for the connection to the continuation of your expansion individually and collectively. Many of the conversations we are having with our human friends as of these days is the consciousness expansion, that there is a sort of revolution coming or is in play already, and that is bringing forward an expansion of consciousness in a greater degree than has ever been before in human history experience. And what we would say to you is that you are in some ways moving from an old paradigm, a dark paradigm. That's just how you label it, but we say it could work to say it like that. You are moving from that older paradigm into a new reality, into new realities, into this paradigms of existence that create more light, that are in consciousness changing. And some of our human friends at times tend to say things to us like, it is not getting any better, Osairah. It seems to be harder or worse or darker. And we would say, in actuality, it is not. But what you are experiencing is, as a human construct of all the multidimensional aspects of your being, you are carrying some codes from previous timelines, what we would say simultaneously occurring, that are having to change, that are having to shift. And because of that, you are, how should we say, rubbing up against the old ways of being, the old ways of thinking, the old ways of looking at the world, the old ways of fear, that have to do with change. So you are confronting a lot of your own systems through times and timelines that are needing to be shed. In order for that to be shed, it's almost like you have to look directly at what was in order to see that it must change, in order to let the change occur so that you may move forward and expand into the new. And some of you, not just people, what we would say people on this phone call or on this conversation here now, but in the life itself, are having a very hard time with that idea of that recalibration of change. That change becomes too scary. That change is too challenging, too difficult, too much. You've had enough already. And we understand how it is you would feel that way. And we would remind you that through change, new life is born. That through change, the experience of your living accelerates and opens up. It is not always this painful place some people tend to gravitate towards the idea of. And so what we would like to remind you, if you are here in this moment with us now or listening at another time, we want you to know that change brings you the new, it brings you the expansion, even if at times that is a difficult piece, even if at times that's a bit of a difficult walk, even if that is scary to your systems, it does not mean that that is, quote, bad. As you move from the old, we often say outmoded ways of being, from the considerable dark ages into new expanded territory of new life, of new existence, of new consciousness, of a new and many new realities that are being born even now, the expansion that you carry is what you are adding to the field. And so if you can reroute your own thinking in a way about how that is happening for you, you can shift swifter, easier, with more grace and ease, with more calm, centered knowing, because, dearest ones, you are and have never been alone in this process. You are not here by yourself. Many of our human friends often talk to us about feeling alone, you could say, or feeling that there is not a lot of help here and that things are quite negative. And we really understand it from that perspective that you are experiencing it when it is like that. But we would also like to remind you, it is not quite so. You are absolutely supported in ways that, yes, many times you cannot see, but as you key in to the expansion, you begin to understand that there is so much more going on here than you previously were connected to or had the remembrance of. One of our favorite pieces of conversation, at least as of late, would be that we like the conversation about awakening to remember, awakening yourself on many levels, even in the experience of being human, when you go about your days, awakening to remember that you are here being guided, being supported, that you are not alone, that your soul family is both incarnated and not in a carnation, so that you are in a process of awareness, that you begin to expand that which goes beyond the human senses, or that you activate your human senses to a degree where you remember this at a much deeper level, at a consistent level, or at least that you continue to return yourself to that remembering. Oh, that's right, I am not alone here. I call on my guides and helpers, and I remember that I am in full support, and that when I step off the physical body, I will see and remember it all. And so when you do that in a conscious way here in this now physical time, especially now in this physical timeline of what you are focused here on being in the human body, you are amplifying the raising of that kind of consciousness. You are adding that to the pot. And so it is such a joyful experience for us when we see you all adding to that pot in your own field of consciousness, of your own choices to remember. Choosing to remember that you are a part of this resonant field of awakening. And that as you actually tune into that resonant field, you actually amplify it, which actually then connects you even stronger. We like this idea of considering that you are all always sort of chasing this tuning in feeling. You're always sort of chasing, well, we should say, many of you. Some of you believe that there are people who are not chasing that feeling at all, but you are in effect chasing a feeling to be plugged into something that helps you remember more than what you are experiencing in the physical body of the world. And so that can look like various things. That can look like I'm chasing my happiness, I'm chasing my passion, I'm chasing the love of my life, I'm chasing feeling good, and some of that comes in the forms of kind of quite the opposite of that. I'm chasing feeling good, I want to feel plugged in, I want to know my source, and I find it in drugs or alcohol. And then there becomes the addictive pattern because there's always chasing something to make feel better. When in reality, what you're trying to do is you're really trying to chase that. You are actually trying to tune in constantly to that resonant field of the remembrance. That's what you are really actually trying to chase or connect to. And so we tell that to you in that sort of way. We kind of give you that picture because in your guts, in your heart, in your soul, in your beingness, in the eternal lightness of your being, in the eternalness of your being, the truth is known by you. And though it can be so small or so very buried within you, it's still there. It still nudges. It still pushes. And so for some of you who have lived so many lifetimes, so many of you are such old souls that, how should we say, it's like a nugget, that little nugget of vibration that is calling you to something more, to something greater, to something wider, something purer, something truer, something vibrationally of a resonance that calls or feels like home is a good way to say it. When that, as an old soul, it continues to beckon you, you keep on your evolutionary path. You keep growing, you keep seeking, you keep trying to tune in to that vibration, and it is calling to you. What we would like to remind you of is, even when you think you're not really seeking, trying to tune into that, you actually are. So consciousness, being aware of this, is quite a, how should we say that? It's like a balancing act. You are balancing that it is a big job to come into incarnate into the physical body. We don't ever minimize that. We always acknowledge that to a very strong and beautiful and powerful and great degree that it is. To be incarnated in a physical body is an immense undertaking. You are incredible beings and warriors. And when we say warriors, we mean that in a most esteemed kind of way, not in a violent way. We wish we could have another word, and we will see if we can find a better word for that at some point. But what we would say to you is that in this vibrational frequency of seeking that resonant home factor, the way in which your soul emanates to you, you are calling yourself home. You are in a physical body trying to get through the sludge, the muck and the mire that you have created in a part of the process of being human, so that you can expand, so that your soul can grow. We say to you that is immense. We wish we could reflect to you the immensity of the task that you undertake, and we really are not just trying to be your greatest cheerleaders, although we would say on some level we are, but we are also trying to really have you remember who you really are. That it takes great levels of courage to stay, to come, to stay, to walk through it, to open yourself up, to pull off the masks of the conditionings that you have been, of the constructs that you needed for survival that kept things in place to keep moving forward at any rate. And that when at some point those constructs do not work and you do the work within and you realize something else is going on here, and then you begin to take off those masks and you begin to shed those old ways of being, and you recognize every challenge, every hurt, every loss, everything that you have ever experienced, what you call good, bad, right, wrong, is all a part of the wholeness to make the holiness within you come to light. And that is what you really are. When we see that, yes, we want to be your greatest cheerleaders, but we also want to actually give you the truth of it, and we want to give you the greatest reflection of the reminder of you are magnificent beings, magnificent in scope on so many levels, because you are a soul with consciousness that has come here for the elevation, revelation of your own truth as you are in actuality of reality, of realities, of what you would say the universal scope of all that there is. You are a part of the holiness of the one that you are, which is God consciousness. You could say God consciousness, source energy, source truth, all that there is, oneness. And you are here to shine that light as you remember it, that you wake yourself up. And some of you, we will say, have this kind of way to minimize who you are, how you are. I'm not doing enough. Oh, I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I'm not this big. I'm not that big. I'm not. And we're not looking at you in the way that you are looking at you. We see what you already are. We see that you have, in effect, put the blinders on yourself, and you are playing a game of hide and seek in the dark with blinders on and trying to remember what it is you're even playing or doing there. So it is our absolute, always our greatest honor to give this kind of reflection of the truth that you are. But more importantly, how that can assist you in the daily walk of your remembering. And so there seems to be so many questions at times about the things that are occurring in physical life, as it seems to be that there is more going on that seems to be darker or heavier. And what we will tell you is that at the same time as it is seeming like that, and there is a lot that is manipulating and controlling that seeing, by the way, if you unplug from a lot of that manipulation and you get in touch with life's essence itself, if you get in touch with the truth, if you spend more time in nature, if you take pauses out of the seemingly I'm so connected to the world ways that people are tending to be these days, you will get more deeply in touch with the truth of your being. You will get more deeply in touch with the reflection of life outside of yourself that is actually inside of yourself. And the connections are made so much more strong and beautiful. And at the same time, you did not come and to be in a vacuum by yourself anyway, though many of you enjoy time alone, and that is a very good thing, and you have constructed your life for that experience. That would be, in a sense, the particular path you have chosen, meaning that will garner you the greatest ability for your own growth. And there is no thing wrong with that either. No one way is the right way. There are many, many, many ways of the light into the self-beingness, consciousness of all that you can choose for your acceleration. The consciousness trick, we would say, it's not really a trick, but the way to amplify the consciousness is when you are aware that you are doing this work, that you are amplifying what is within, that you are shutting off some things that no longer work for you, that this is not who you are, even though for 45 years or longer you thought this is who you were. When you let these things go, when they become not a, how should we say that? We like this idea, the word, Velcro. When it is not like Velcro to you and you pull yourself off of those constructs of belief and you actually acknowledge, oh, wow, I am not those constructs that I've held myself to. I am more than that version of myself that I thought I was for those 45 years, and I can expand into that, and I'm going to amplify that, and I'm going to send that out. I am light, I am love, I am consciousness, I am ever expanding consciousness. This is not just a mental thing you're doing by speaking it, although that is very much helpful to the formation of the connection, but it is something that begins to grow authentically within you as you ponder it, as you consider it, as you allow it, as you take in new information here, like even in this moment, by taking in this kinds of conversation, kind of connection on an energetic level. This rewires, reroutes, and opens up the things that you originally came here for in the first place. So, as we always say, there are never any accidents for our human friends when we are in connection with you. You have made this divine appointment all along. And so here you are amplifying it. We say yay for that, and keep doing it. Keep growing that amplification. Let whatever it is that rains down from our words or from anyone else's that feels like a ring of truth for you to aspect within you and open you up. It's like a treasure chest in there you just didn't know you had. Ha. So we see to say to you all that we have a recognition of there are many places we could go in this conversation, and there's lots of things. We will pause for a moment, recalibrate with the system of the body of the beloved channel.